Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. Keep liking my page, really appreciate the support, Facebook, YouTube and Spotify. Okay, let's get straight down to it, shall we? So obviously the big breaking news, the shocking news, Josh Warrington being knocked out by, let's have it right, fringe world level Mauricio Lara last night at the Wembley Arena. It was a strange performance, wasn't it? I've just been watching the fight back because sometimes you get emotionally invested when you first watch it. Warrington did everything I expected him to do for one round, round two. Now, as you can see in my previous podcast, I said that Warrington's hand speed would be too good. His chin would be too good. He'd be able to counter Lara when Lara swings wildly. He'd back Lara up on the ropes and just beat him up and stop him. And that happened for large parts of round two. But what I didn't, and I think a lot of people didn't realise, certainly if you watch Lara's fights on YouTube previous to this, is his chin. He's got an absolute granite chin. And unlike any other opponent that Warrington's faced, he just took it, didn't he? He took it flush, kept coming. He did not back down from Warrington. Most people just naturally take a step from Warrington and his relentless pressure. That never happened. Lara held his ground, took everything flush, and was unfazed. Maybe that's his youth, maybe his tough Mexican heritage. I don't know. But and then what was surprising was two things happened. You could physically see Warrington wilting. Now, this is an Iron Man that has total stamina and, never tires. Yeah, he was tiring. It was unbelievable to see, wasn't it, from round three? And he looked confused. He didn't have a plan B when he realised, I can't overwhelm this opponent like I've done the last 30. I can't hurt this opponent. I'm getting beaten to the punch. What am I going to do? He didn't adapt. Not like a great Mayweather or Canelo, plan B, plan C. He just kept coming forward and he started getting picked apart, didn't he? I watched a really good interview with Dominic Ingle, who obviously trains Kid Galahad, so he's invested in the division. And he said, did Warrington do the weight right? Because I know from my own personal experience, when you lose a lot of weight quickly, you're weak, you're drained, your strength goes, you're zapped. So you have to wonder, he's been out the ring 16 months. Has he been on point with his weight? Has he been on point with his diet? Has he been on point with his training? All these things weigh up, don't they? If he suddenly had a panic, we don't know, because that's something only him and his team will be able to testify for that. But if he's been trying to burn the weight off, with 3 weeks to go, that's going to take your chin away, because there were punches that were rocking Warrington to his boots that in previous fights he just walked off. I mean, I don't necessarily buy into the fact that Lara, yes, he's heavy-handed, but does he punch harder than a Frampton? I'm not having that. I'm not having that one bit. And yet Warrington was able to walk them punches down from Frampton. He was able to take them and keep coming. He looked buzzed every time Lara hit him yesterday. So that's a really valid point. Did he do the weight too quickly? Another thing, and obviously a big factor, is the lockdown curse, isn't it? Fighting in front of no people. I mean, was Warrington up for it? He looked, as Macklin quite rightly said on commentary, he didn't look up for it, did he, as much? He didn't bring the high intensity that we know he brings from the first bell. When he's fighting in front of a packed leads, they almost roar him on, don't they, to victory. They roar that intensity, he's up for it. With no crowd, it's a bit like a ghost town. Maybe he was caught cold. And thirdly, let's have it right, he's probably overlooked Lara, hasn't he? He was meant to have the unification clash with UCAN. That got completely wiped out 3 weeks ago. So he's had 3 weeks prep for Lara. And he's probably looked at the record, 22-year-old kid from Mexico, lost twice. Where's his credentials? Who's he fought? And he's just overlooked him. He probably hasn't done enough research to know that this kid can actually bang a bit. This kid's got an iron chin. I'm going to have to probably maybe revert to plan B and use my boxing. So it was a variety of factors, I think, but there's no question about it. Warrington's come out. He was gutted about not having that unification with Can. He was up for it. He's been training all Christmas for it. And then to have that taken away, he probably lacked a bit of motivation, let's be honest. So it was a big shock. But when you start adding the building blocks together, you can see why it happened. And another factor that no one's mentioned is Lara has actually fought 5 times in the space of a year. Iron sharpens iron. The more you do something, the better you're going to get. Warrington hasn't touched the ring for 16 months. So Lara, okay, hasn't been fighting the elite, but he's been fighting fringe world level, getting sharper, getting better, getting more confident. You know, he's won 9 back-to-back. Confidence, sharpness. Warrington didn't have any of that last night. Didn't have his sharpness, didn't have his hunger, and he got caught. But listen, I don't want this to be a boxing podcast that knocks Warrington for 10 minutes. He showed tremendous heart, didn't he, to keep fighting up to the round 9. I mean, he was gone. Let's have it right. He was gone in round 4. And his will, his warrior spirit kept him going, which was unbelievable. But that was a bad knockout in 9. And, you know, I've never seen anyone back Warrington up like Lara did from round 3 to 9. He just kept coming, didn't he? Punch to the body, punch to the head, punch to the body, punch to the head. And this is something I did outline in my podcast before the fight, that, you know, Lara inside has got a good combination where he goes to the body, then the head. And that's what done for Warrington, wasn't it? At round 9, body, and a vicious hook to the chin that broke Warrington. Vicious knockout. And he still tried to get up. That shows you the heart of Warrington. But there's a big debate. Should it have been waved off when Warrington got to his corner after round 4? I can see that. I mean, he was still wobbly on round 5, but he's a world champion, or former world champion. He's 30-0. You know, he's fighting in his home country. He's looking for that big unification. So I can see why, and it's his dad in his corner training him. I can see why they pushed him out for 5. And to be fair, yes, the first minute of 5, he didn't look right. Did he look wobble? But then he came back strong, didn't he? The last minute of round 5, and he fired some hooks on the buzz, Lara. So you can see arguments for both sides. Actually, no, you know, he's got the heart of a will. He'll find a way. And that's always you think with Warrington. You think he's a winning machine. He'll find a way. But, you know, sadly, obviously, he didn't fully recover. And, you know, he didn't change his tactics. That was the worry for me. He didn't go to plan B. He just kept with the same old. And it was only a matter of time when he was doing that, because he was slower to the punch than Lara, and he wasn't as heavy-handed. So, I mean, credit Lara. I mean, Eddie Hearns come out after the fight and said, listen, this kid's made a name for himself, and he has, hasn't he? He's in the case now of who needs him. But if he marched up the rankings, he's almost took Warrington's spot now, hasn't he? Especially in the IBF. And I think on that performance, you know, who's going to want to fight him? I mean, I think Gary Russell will probably beat him with his slick boxing skills, but anyone else, I'm not sure Kid Galahad beats him. I know it's a different style, but I'm not sure if he gets caught, Galahad, with one of them left hooks, then it's game over, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, Lara's done brilliant to elevate himself. He's now a name in the featherweight division. For Warrington, for me, he needs to get the immediate rematch. He needs to put this right, because no one's going to touch him. No world champion's going to want to fight him anyway. And now they've got the perfect excuse, haven't they? Even Galahad has got a perfect excuse. You've just been knocked out by, you know, a journeyman. What are we going to do fighting you? So he needs to get this rematch. He needs to put it right. Yes, they're going to have to pay over the odds to get Lara back, because now Lara's going to demand double the purse to get him back to fight the rematch. Warrington needs to make adjustments. He cannot go toe-to-toe with Lara. That's evident. He's going to have to slowly pick Lara apart. And, you know, when he gets him hurt, take his time. And don't rush him with your head up and your chin up. And be wary of that left hook. You're going to have to find ways to defend that left hook, because otherwise you're going to get knocked out again. So he's going to have 6 months off anyway. The British border going to demand that from Warrington. And that's a good decision. He needs that to recover. But he then needs a hard training session, training camp, not 3 weeks, but 8 to 10, making adjustments, learning how to defend that left hook. That's the key for Warrington. Can he beat Lara? Absolutely he can. The best of Warrington beats the best of Lara, in my view. I've seen enough of Warrington. I've seen against Galahad, Frampton, Selby. That Warrington beats up Lara. But he needs to start with high intensity. He needs to defend that left hook. And he needs to back Lara on the ropes. He doesn't want to fight him centre ring in a tear-up. And that's just that, really. So, listen, Warrington's one of my favourite fighters. I wish him a speedy recovery. I wish him all the success. I wish him an immediate rematch. But he's got to make changes. If he doesn't, he's going to get knocked out again.